Now, Richard Emblin is director and founding partner of the City Paper. He joins us now from Bogota. And I want to ask you, where were you when this happened? Did you also feel the tremors? Because it seems with each passing hour, we are learning more about how serious this situation is and how widespread this was, really, throughout so many highly populated urban centers.
Yes, Paula, I was actually taking a morning walk to the financial district to run some very early errands in the heart of Bogota, and a city that's located at almost 9,000 feet above sea level on the eastern edge of the Andes. So for us to feel such a strong quake, bus stations were rattling, lampposts were swaying. We could see the large communications towers and antenna posts on the hills behind Bogota moving quite violently. There was a general sense that people were very calm in Bogota, but everybody stopped in their tracks. Buildings immediately started evacuating the few personnel that they had in there at that time in the morning. Most people were heading into the buildings to start their 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning shift. So I witnessed it. I was on the ground floor. My wife, in a six-story apartment close by, was absolutely shocked and terrified. She was calling me in panic. Things were moving. It was quite a violent quake. And given the fact that San Jose del Palmar is almost 240 miles west of where we are, and very on the Pacific lowland. So it was we knew something big had gone down in Colombia.
Yeah, I mean, we're just looking at some of the video now. What you've described is absolutely terrifying. And of course, you make the point, you weren't even that close to the epicenter. Now, as we just had mentioned, Colombia has a new government, a new president in place. This is a crucial test. What have you seen so far in the intervening hours? And what is it crucial for the government to do now? Because we are looking at collapsed buildings that surely still have people trapped in the rubble.
Absolutely, Paula. It's actually quite the death count stands at 111, but will definitely climb tragically. Over 60 buildings have collapsed across Colombia, including some large scale buildings and some historical buildings in downtown Cali. Obviously, clearly the hardest hit regions of Colombia is the coffee zone, the three departments, Quindío, Risaralda, and Caldas, that make up the whole heart of the coffee growing triangle. Abelardo responded immediately. He cut short his day's agenda. He's arrived in Bogota. He has announced that he's flying to the capital of the Chocó department, which is the department where the epicenter and the earthquake really was concentrated. It's a very impoverished part of Colombia. It's largely Afro-Colombian, and has largely been abandoned in many ways by the state. But Abelardo has said he will be there tomorrow. He has turned up at the Unified Command Post right now, and he is coordinating all efforts, having declared a national state of disaster. So proactivity, yes, and it seems that this is not only a litmus test for the first couple hours and days of this new administration, but it will definitely make him and his vice president, Jose Manuel Restrepo, show all their support to the Colombians, to their people, and they've already, most mayors in Colombia are rallying behind the presidency, and will be given all the support from this administration.
Yeah, and to be clear, that support needs to be expedited because they only have a certain amount of hours right now, anybody that is trapped. And then after that, it will move to certainly humanitarian assistance. I want to ask you, Richard, as we mentioned before, this is one of the strongest earthquakes in Colombia in a decade, but it also struck along many urban areas. I mean, is this something that is on the minds of Colombians? And I'm talking about drills, building codes, emergency preparation kits. Is this something that is front of mind, or do you believe that we have seen a shift now in Colombia where more people will have it front of mind?
Well, absolutely. The largest earthquake since this one in over a decade took place in 1999 in almost the same area, the heart of the coffee triangle, in affecting, impacting, and destroying of Pereira, which today, again, we saw in scenes, was the scene of horrific building collapse. Now, there is one aspect to this area, as it is Colombia's agricultural heartland for coffee production. Most of the coffee plantations in Colombia grow alongside bamboo. And so the poor architecture in Colombia, the more colonial architecture, is structured or built with bamboo, which makes it seismically very flexible. So unfortunately, these are the more modern buildings or buildings that have been constructed um, in downtown concentrated urban centers with not necessarily the right type of materials that have collapsed. The rural areas where people live in these kind of more mud and wattle huts with bamboo suspension would have been spared much of the destruction. What we are seeing though is, and we have seen in Colombia, is regular drills every couple of months in large centers to get people out on the streets. And what I saw today in Bogota were the office workers carrying their stretchers in
Mm-hmm.
preparation, their first aid kit, knowing that there could be aftershocks. And I think this shows a level of preparedness in Colombia that an earthquake is always imminent. However, um, people have always concentrated, or the general feeling is that Bogota it could be hit by a severe earthquake. But once again, it seems to be like in Venezuela, the same fault line that runs along the Pacific that is now causing so much destruction.
Yeah, it is interesting insight though that you give us to the fact that you did see people going through the motions, things they had, drilled for, and no doubt saved lives and injury. Richard Emblin, we'll leave it there for now, but continue to check in with you. Thanks so much.